Okay. Well, welcome to our show today, and boy, do we have an interesting one. I'd like to introduce Julie and Marco, and we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about today?
Short-term rentals in Las Vegas.
That's right.
Okay, that sounds like a fantastic subject to start with. So why are we here? We're going to talk about it. We're going to tell people what's happening in the city and what we have to say about it.
Well, people have been renting homes, entire homes in Las Vegas for decades now,
Right.
without a problem. And there are some people who need to rent a home when they come here, and we want them to be available.
Sure.
Well, there have been a few bad players that have sprung up, and the city council and the county have decided that maybe we need to ban them.
All of them?
All of them.
No, they can't do that.
And so what has happened is a lot of people have gone underground, and then they've multiplied. Like with anything,
Well, sure.
prohibition doesn't work.
That's right. It
And,
doesn't.
and so it's gotten out of control in some areas. So what they're doing is they're saying we want to enact regulations that will effectually ban short-term rentals in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And what we're saying is no, it's better for us to have reasonable regulations.
That's right.
And make it everybody become licensed so we can monitor them, close down the bad players by enforcing the code.
Right, right. And that's exactly the biggest problem is enforcement. The issue we're having is there's a large group of people who do short-term rentals,
Right.
but there's a tiny, tiny percentage of people that run these party houses. Typically, those party houses are unlicensed. They don't care what the regulation is. More regulations isn't going to affect them. They're going to continue doing what they do. So we've got solutions to that problem, which is, like I say, and we're all in agreement, I think, that party houses are the problem. The
Yes.
problem isn't short-term rentals. The
Oh,
problem
yes.
is those few bad
Absolutely.
players that don't go by any rules, whatever the rules are going to be.
Exactly.
And we need to shut them down, and I think the neighbors agree, the council people agree, everybody agrees.
I think everybody should get on the bandwagon and help. So if you have a party house that shouldn't be there, they're the ones that you should, that the city should go after, definitely.
Well,
Right,
what's sad
exactly.
is there are people that come to the city council meetings
Right.
to complain about the party houses. These are the same people that have been complaining for several years about the same houses. I would be really angry if I were those neighbors, but I'd be more angry at the city council
That they
for
didn't.
not enforcing the code, not resolving the problem. But the city is trying to do the same strategy, only in hyperdrive, for the same problem that it's failed to address so far. So what we're saying is, let's do it differently. Let's use best practices, that is, the things that are working in other communities.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over. You need to fix the problem.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Absolutely. So this week, I understand that there's a lot of things going on.
Right.
Would you like to
Yes.
elaborate on what's going to happen?
We've been working for some time with trying to get the city council to listen to us and to put good policies forward, but they have proposed a bill that is absolutely unacceptable, and we've asked them to revise it, and it's still not revised. So they're going to be having a recommending committee tomorrow morning at the city council,
Okay.
where people can give public comment about how they feel about short-term rentals. And we would hope that the people who support having them in our community, would want to do them in the future, or who just love to stay in short-term rentals, would come and talk to the council and tell them how they feel about it. Then on Wednesday morning, at
Okay.
about 11:30, they're going to hold a vote, or they're going to listen to a lot of comment
Okay.
and then hold a vote.
All right.
And that will be whether or not this bill will be enacted. And this bill will effectually ban short-term rentals in homes in Las Vegas.
You mean it'll stop everything?
Well, what it
Well,
does,
Yeah, go ahead.
so what it does
You've
is
got me scared now.
is that- well, what they're doing, one of the big provisions of the bill is called a special use permit. And what a special use permit
Right.
is basically you have to buy the house, you have to
Right.
be the owner of the house,
Okay.
and you have to appear before city council after applying for the license. There's a
Okay.
non-refundable $1,000 fee for the license.
For
Then
the
you go
special
to
use permit.
Right, right. Then you go before council and you say, please, may I operate this house? Your neighbors get input, everybody gets input. If for any reason you're denied, which has been their track record so far, they've denied everyone that's come before them.
Oh, my God.
So the idea is here you've invested in a house, you've cleaned up a house maybe that's been in a blighted neighborhood, you've
Right.
done all this work, invested your personal savings.
Right.
You go to city council, ask for permission, no, and they'll deny the permit. So the idea, it's a very high bar. This is a bar that they use for liquor stores, bars,
row houses.
privileged licenses. This is not that. This is
No.
someone renting their house. This is something that goes on in neighborhoods every day. But by having to appear before city council to ask permission, we know how they feel. There are a lot of people that they feel very strongly
This has
about not
happened in the
having
past
them.
where they've turned people down?
They,
yeah.
they cannot cite one instance where they have allowed for a special use permit in regards to short-term rentals.
So-
Not one.
What happened to Welcome to Las Vegas? We're a friendly town and we want business and
This
we
is
want to
our
work with.
lifeblood.
Yes.
Right, right.
You put your money in, you come here and you start over and you're, or you go into a blighted neighborhood. Look at all
Yes.
the neighborhoods that you guys have helped, I can see from different neighborhoods.
Right,
It's
right.
beautiful.
Oh,
Otherwise,
yes.
those houses would be in disrepair and it would be a disaster.
Well, in order to rent a home
Yes.
on a listing site, you need to have a nice picture.
Correct.
It needs to look nice so that they will rent your home. Then when the guests arrive,
Right.
they need to be able to see what they've seen in the picture. So it's important for the owners of short-term rentals to
Right.
keep the yard
Absolutely.
looking good, the house looking
Absolutely.
beautiful, and that there isn't going to be any disruption to their stay. So we don't want to have parties going on
No.
around it or problems around it either. So we are good neighbors.
Right, right. Often you'll see a short-term rental in, like we've talked about, in
Sure.
an area
Blighted.
that's blighted.
Right.
And very often it's the best kept house in the neighborhood
So
because
they've
the
brought-
idea is
They've
Oh,
brought
yes.
they've brought the value up and they've helped the
Absolutely.
neighborhood.
And they'll have
Absolutely.
usually cameras outside and other things, which gives the neighbors around them the feeling that this is going to be safe, a safe
Right.
investment. So you'll have
Right.
other people buying homes
Right.
and living there, but
Well, sure.
really keeping their houses a lot nicer, and the whole neighborhood is elevated because of it.
Right.
Right.
Because the idea is instead of a traditional rental where you might rent it for a year, you might have a
Right.
one-year lease.
Right.
The landlord kind of rents it, they get a tenant in there, and then off they go, and that's it. With a short-term rental, we have visitors every weekend, every week, every month.
Right.
And so we have to maintain that house in perfect working order. I often tell my neighbors that
Right.
I keep my rental better than I keep my own house.
Right.
Because
Of
it's,
course,
it's looking absolutely perfect. That's.
You know, the old saying, leave it better, leave it better than you found it,
Right,
right?
right, absolutely.
Well, that brings up a whole lot of questions here. If you don't mind me, folks, I'm going to ask a few more questions. Okay, now, we have a lot of things happening. We've got the Golden Knights coming, we've got the
Right.
Raiders coming.
Right.
We've got so many people coming to this town, it's not funny. This weekend, we have the Electric
Right,
Daisy
of course.
Carnival, and you've got a fight coming up, and I understand, I can see both sides of the problem, where you have the party houses, and nobody wants the party
Absolutely,
houses.
we don't
I
either.
wouldn't want them in my neighborhood, I know you don't, and it's not fair to the neighbors. But
Yes.
if you have people that are taking care of, they've gone in, they've invested, they've fixed up the house, they're nice to the neighbors, they get along with everybody,
Yes.
and it's a safe place, then I really don't see a reason why you wouldn't work with the people, because it basically
right.
not only helps that person, but it helps everybody in the neighborhood.
Right,
Oh,
right.
yes.
We try and be good neighbors
Right,
is the idea
right.
because, it's in our interest, obviously, to,
Right.
to keep the house in good order, to be
Right.
a good neighbor.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants complaints. Nobody wants to live next to a house that's
No.
not maintained, et cetera.
Right,
So,
right.
and it's, it's what we do as
Absolutely.
hosts is
Yes.
welcome people.
And what we should do as a tourism leader,
Right.
we should have
We're in Vegas.
options for people
Yes.
from all around the world, and there are people who demand, they need to rent a house.
Right.
We should have
Right,
those
right.
available for them, or it's going to start to degrade our image
You're
as
right.
one of the leaders in hospitality management. Now, we have over 150,000 hotel rooms in this
Yes.
city, and still there's a demand for houses.
Right.
We only have 150 or so licensed houses in this whole valley.
Right, right.
That's a ridiculous
So, and that's the
thing
thing
to
is houses are a market segment of the
Right.
hospitality industry.
Sure.
That,
They always have been.
that currently Las Vegas isn't being very hospitable to, which
No.
is, like I say,
Right.
picture a group of little league kids
Right.
that are here for a tournament. Las Vegas runs
Right.
all kinds of things, conventions, things
Or
like
soccer
that.
tournaments.
And really, you're going to put these kids in a hotel. You're going to put them downtown with
The
all the
casinos
smoking
and-
and gambling.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we've got Rubo Center up there.
Yes,
People come from all over because it's an incredible facility with the Cleveland Clinic.
yes.
We have people request a home because it's hard for a patient with
That's right.
Alzheimer's disease and their spouse to walk through the casino. It's
Right,
really
right.
difficult for that person. And so when they can go to a home, it's good for both people because it's stable for the patient, but also for the spouse to have a home away from home.
Absolutely.
You know, there are
Right.
people who just need the
Right.
home environment. You have people with special dietary needs that need a kitchen. And so they'll make their own meals. Does that mean they'll never go to the casinos or the
Oh,
restaurants?
of course not.
No.
Of course they'll go. You don't come to
Right.
Vegas and not enjoy all of the amenities.
So
and if you
everybody-
want to party,
Yeah.
there are plenty of venues in Las Vegas to party.
Right.
They
Not
want to
the
come
house.
home and
Yes.
sleep.
Right, right.
Relax at the house.
Right. No, you're in
Yes.
an environment with
Right.
with all these facilities that we have to party,
Sure.
and that's the last thing that they come to home to do
Right.
at a house. You know, they go to the Strip. You know, often a lot of my tenants
Yeah.
they'll be gone the entire day. They go, they have fun on the Strip.
Right.
That's the place for that. They come home, they go to sleep, and they do it again the next day, and
Right.
they have a great time.
And you,
Just
right,
not in the house.
Right, and you have conventions. I know, I'm from the East Coast originally, from Pennsylvania, and I would go to High Point, North Carolina. My background is interior design and, you know, marketing. And so I would go down there. I would rent a house down in High Point. So I've
Right.
used that. I've been up in Maine. I took took Dave and I took my pups with me and went up there, and it's very friendly. So I've been in different parts of the country where everybody likes it. But we keep coming back to welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, and we're supposed to, you know, be welcoming people. We've got to somehow make some kind of a, you know, a bridge between
Right,
what's
right.
going on here to see if we can't make it work. I really
Yeah.
think we should.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, we need to be reasonable about it. We need to
Right.
acknowledge that the demand is there.
Right,
It will be supplied whether we license it or not.
that's right.
We need to make sure that it's controlled so that visitors to Las Vegas are getting a wonderful experience. The way to do that is reasonable regulations, licensing that people
Right.
don't have to gamble in order to get.
Right, right.
And then it feels like you have more
Right.
chance of winning the lottery than getting an SUP for a
Right,
short-term
right.
rental here.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And then we need to enforce the code. If we do those things, there will be control to it. The bad operators will go some other place where it's
Right.
easy to do what they're doing.
Right, and it shouldn't be easy here. I totally agree.
yes.
It should go somewhere else. I mean, we don't want it here.
Right, right, and that's what our group is proposing is a set of reasonable regulations.
Right.
Because nobody wants that, like we say, and it shouldn't be simple, like a simple form
No.
to operate. We want to make sure that there's good operators, people that have
Yes.
insurance,
Right.
people that are held accountable
That's right.
for their tenants. And people who take good care of their homes, and that's what we
Yeah.
want, and
Right.
we're not against any
Well, right now it's
regulation whatsoever.
flipped. It's
Right.
flipped. It's easier to run an unlawful bad short-term rental than it is to get licensed.
Oh,
There's
that-
something seriously
Right,
wrong with
right.
Yes.
that.
Well, that brings up another question here. Would that not, if they were licensed in their businesses, there would be taxes involved? Wouldn't
course,
wouldn't
right.
all of these people have to pay taxes? Wouldn't they have to be accountable to the city? Wouldn't they be under the same licenses like business license
Yes.
and the
Correct,
rest
correct.
of the things? So correct me if I'm wrong, but that leaves a lot of money on the table, doesn't it? That the taxes should help here, and we should.
Oh, we're losing millions of
I
dollars in
would think
potential
so,
revenue.
yes.
Not just from the lost opportunities because the venues aren't available, the homes may not be available because of the ban,
Right.
but also because we're not collecting any taxes on the unlicensed ones now. The
Right, right.
licensed ones are paying taxes.
They're paying the room tax.
Yes.
What is the room tax, if you don't mind me asking?
They pay 13% tax.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
hefty tax.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes. Well, what can everybody do to help? We're pro, we're con, whatever. And obviously, you're on my show. I believe in trying to solve a problem here. So what can everybody do to help you? Monday, you have the first meeting, and Where is that? What time is it? Please tell our audience. We want everybody involved.
It's at
Your
City
decision.
Hall. City Hall downtown. And it's at 9 o'clock on Monday.
Correct?
And then on Wednesday, we have the vote, the regular city council meeting. There are two different, they usually have a recommending committee with 3 city council members, and they listen to it, and they decide whether or not they're going to forward it to the city council.
Okay.
And then the city council meeting is a little closer in time than usual, but it will be on Wednesday, and that's when the whole city council and the mayor listen to the public comment and then make a vote.
So there's 2 opportunities there, both on Monday and Wednesday.
And
So
where is City Council located? It's right downtown in Las Vegas?
City Hall is on Main Street.
Main Street.
Okay.
Correct. So
Okay, and I see you're wearing T-shirts there. Would you like to tell me about these? Because I've been going to ask you that since you
Yes.
sat down. Tell me about your T-shirts, and what is this? Is this to help your cause? What does this mean? I want to know.
Well, the Vegas Vacation Rental Association decided that we would create T-shirts so that the city council could clearly see who is there in support of short-term rentals.
Okay.
So we, at the last recommending committee meeting, we had over 200 people at the meeting in
Okay.
T-shirts,
shirts, right.
and they're in support. Now, we offer the T-shirts for free to our members and to those who are supporting it, but we need to register them ahead of time to pick up a T-shirt.
How would they, by watching our show, how would they get a T-shirt? They're on board with you. This is obviously a beautiful T-shirt.
Thank you.
Would you be able to tell us, how to get in touch with you?
Well, if they could, you're on Facebook.
Right.
You go to my Facebook page. It's Julie Crimmen Davies. Put a message on there for me, and I will connect with you to get you a T-shirt.
So yeah, we'd love to have as many people as we can out to
Okay.
support us, both on Monday and Wednesday. So that'd be great.
Okay. How do we spell Crimmen? That's my next question.
Good. Like criminal without the A-L.
Okay.
Criminal, though. It's C-R-I-M-I-N.
Okay.
D-A-V-I-E-S.
Okay, well, these are beautiful,
There.
beautiful
thank you.
shirts. I mean, really,
Yes.
I think would be great. I love the logo. I love everything about it.
And you could also look for Vegas Vacation Rental Association. It's
Okay.
not up and running now, but we'll have it going on Facebook pretty quick.
Okay, all right. Is there any other thing we'd like to talk about?
Well, I think if they'll also
Right.
contact their council members, and I think their commissioners too, because it's banned in the county right now as well. But if they'll let them know that they're in support of it, most of the times if we're happy in our neighborhood or we're happy with
stay.
what's going on, we don't say anything.
No, right.
It's the complainers that they hear about.
Right.
So if there's one party house, they're going to hear the complaints, and they won't
Right.
hear about all the people that say, you know, I wouldn't mind having a spare bedroom in my neighborhood.
Right.
And a lot of short-term rentals are like a spare bedroom, because
Right.
if I were
Yeah.
in your neighborhood and I had lots of company come
Right.
in town, I would say, hey, can you give me a friends and family discount?
exactly.
There you go.
A neighbor discount.
Well, I like that
yes.
idea.
And or they want
We
to
help
have,
each other,
yes.
back like in the old times,
Oh,
we
I
we
know.
all rally together and
Well,
try
that's
to
what
help.
neighbors
Right.
should be doing.
Well, sure.
We should be supporting each other rather than being contentious.
Right, right.
And I think if we have licensed operations and we're running them reasonably, and the neighborhoods are not getting riled up about something that isn't happening,
Right.
I think it would be a good thing, because there are a lot of neighborhoods that have a short-term rental that nobody knows about.
Right.
So
It just-
obviously, it's
Yeah.
going along smooth. They're
Yes,
doing
no
everything they're
complaints,
supposed
no
to be doing,
problems.
and
It just
and
comes
nobody
with-
bothers. It's the bad actors that bring it to light.
Exactly. It's, I think, just people have to understand that a short-term rental in their neighborhood doesn't mean a party house. In most cases, it means, like you say, a spare bedroom. Good operators.
Sure,
that
absolutely.
often, in this case, like you say, this has been an industry for decades, and it's
Yes.
gone unnoticed because it's usually quiet. It's usually, as it is. It's the
Well,
bad
sure.
It's a
operators
nice
that
little
we
home.
don't want.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, a lot of people that are here from all different parts of the country, so I would imagine, just like with me, I was from the East Coast, and like I just told you earlier in the show, I was in North Carolina, and I rented there. I was up in Maine, and I rented there. And Las Vegas is a lot bigger than the places that I was at, and I
Right.
mean, however we can help make this thing work for all of us, I think possibly we should take a look at it. And I do
Absolutely.
agree, that maybe things get off on a wrong tangent, maybe one thing turns into another, and you brought it up in the beginning. If the person that started this whole thing had problems from the very beginning and nobody listened to her or him
Right.
about the problems, possibly we should go back and take a look at the beginning and how can we fix this to go forward so we don't have a problem anymore.
Right,
Exactly, and that's what we've done in many cases. We've looked at the regulations all over the nation, and there are some cities where it's become a huge problem because they've had the effectual ban in place. And now it's
Right.
really hard to resolve. Now Vegas isn't that bad yet. This is the time for us to say, we can do it right. Let's
Right.
listen to the people who understand the industry.
Right.
And I've put together 10 points that they can put into the law that will allow for reasonable regulations, sure licensing, sure enforcement.
What are the
And-
10 points?
oh,
Now I'm going to put you
yeah,
on the spot.
all
What
right.
are the 10 points?
First of all, license everybody.
Yes.
And don't make them go through the SUP process because, as I said, it's like getting a lottery ticket. You're paying $1,000 over the regular $500 licensing fee, not knowing if they'll say yes, and they've said no to everybody else.
Not to mention the fact that
No.
you've just bought a house. You've
Oh, and
invested in a
furnished
house.
it, and
Right,
set
right.
up listings and all of those things.
That's-
It's a small business.
That's
In
hundreds
hopes.
of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
that,
Right,
that
right.
they're gambling on, just like going down to the casino and
Right.
putting it on
And if
the
you don't
table.
get the license, all of that is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what you do is you make sure everybody's licensed, and you set up a procedure for violations. If somebody has the first violation, there's a fine, and
Right.
next violation, there's another fine.
Right.
Third violation, a hefty fine, and they lose their license.
Right.
That's fair.
Shut them down if they're not going to play by the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also, we at the Vegas Vacation Rental Association realize that Metro doesn't have time to go out on every phone call.
Right.
So what we've done is we've contracted with a respected private investigative firm that does security for HOAs, for the Mob Museum, for a lot of other
Right.
really good businesses in town, extended stay hotels. They know what they're doing. And what we will do as the association
Right.
is if there's a complaint, like let's say, again, I'm not picking on your house,
Right, right.
but if there's a complaint against your house,
Right.
they have a 24-hour hotline
Oh,
that
they
we've
do?
set up.
This is great.
And so
I
they
love
can call
this.
the 24-hour hotline. The operator will call him and say, hey, there's something going on at your house. Shut it down now. He has the opportunity to do it. If he doesn't feel like he can, or if he has problems with it, we can send out 2 armed guards with
Very
a
good.
camera to the home.
Yeah.
They'll document, and because they're part of us and they're in cooperation with the owner, they could even go into the house if they need to, which is something that code enforcement can't do.
Oh, there
Right,
you go.
right.
And they
That's
can
wonderful.
shut it down because we're working together. They'll take information and they'll make sure that neighbors won't have to worry for hours because the response will be quick.
So the idea is they call an 800 number as an owner. I would give that to all my neighbors. That would become a known number. The idea is they call. They'll know that they're going to get a response. The security firm is authorized to shut it down, do what it takes for this. In this case, if it's a party house, to shut it down, do what it takes, and then that solves the problem of enforcement. Because, like Julie said, there's no time for code enforcement or
No,
for Metro to
no, 'cause
respond
they're
to,
so busy.
noise.
Yes.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
what we've proposed is tended to self-regulate,
It's to
take
help.
care of it ourselves, and help and get the bad actors out of there.
Yes, and then we think that homeowners should be the ones that hold the license.
That's right.
Because one of the things that the party operators do is they rent a house from somebody, which is really sad because a lot of times the owners don't even know that there's going to be a party in there.
Right.
So then they move around. If it's the homeowner who's holding the license, then
Make
it's
them
easier for
responsible.
enforcement. It's easier for the homeowners to not have a party house ever go into their home.
And like you said,
Right.
holds them accountable.
That's right. Well, what you're talking about, this would be part of the people that the rental places would be a part of this, then they would join a club or they would join your rental group.
association,
And there,
right.
there would be a fee involved, I would think,
yes.
obviously.
An
Yes.
association fee, and we haven't
Right.
set that yet.
Okay.
But
that's good.
They would join an
That's great.
association, and also the association would be helping to train each other and talk to each other and give resources so that they would be well run. You know, there are best practices in every industry, and there is in the short-term rental industry. And we want to follow those best practices and encourage every other person that's operating a short-term rental to do so as well. It's good
To be a
for
good
our
operator.
hospitality.
Oh,
in our
absolutely.
community.
Yeah, I like that, I really do.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything else? Or we've given everybody a lot of things to think about, haven't
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
today?
Well, we encourage you to speak out with
Right.
your local officials to let them know that you want short-term rentals in your community. You want this available
Right.
to people. You want it to be reasonably regulated, and you want good operators to be handling the short-term
That's right.
rentals.
Right.
That's let them know, because if they don't hear from the people who are in support of it,
They
they will
don't know.
only hear the complainers.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
You have a voice out there. You should speak up and be heard and make a decision. Get to be part of the community and get involved. I totally
Thank you
agree.
for your help on this.
Yeah, thank you
Yes,
for
this is
having us.
great.
Thank you. And how do the people reach you one more time, Julie? You want to tell everybody?
Well, look for on Facebook. Look for Vegas Vacation Rental Association, or come to me, Julie Crimmen Davies on Facebook.
Okay, and?
And Marco Rizzo.
Yes.
And the last name is Ritzo.
Well, you know, I want to thank you for being on the show today, and I'm sure our audience and everybody that sees this is going to have a lot of new ideas about what they just heard, because, you know, if you hide it under the carpet and you don't talk about it, everybody gets the wrong message or the wrong ideas.
Right, exactly.
In other words, you're not the problem. You're trying to fix the problem along with everybody else. You want to work hand in hand. You
Yes.
don't want to go against each other.
No.
That's what Vegas is about. It's about all of us getting along and working together. And it's supposed to be welcome to fabulous
Right,
Las
right.
Vegas, the
We are the
friendliest town here, you know.
We're the hospitality leaders.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so let's keep up the good work, okay?
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure.
All right, thank you
Thank
again
you.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yep. We'll be back again, so check in and see us next time. Susie's Las Vegas Lifestyles, Susie Saline.